Hey guys, one Christmas movie I watch every year, like every year. I haven't watched it yet because technically I need to be off of work to consider it the Christmas season, and I'm not yet. So one I always watch is Home Alone, like
Yes.
major part of my life.
And then Home Alone 5.
Oh God, never the sequels, never the sequels. Even two.
Oh,
Tim
you are-
Curry's in two. Tim Curry's in two.
2 is good, with the exclusion of the of one person that makes this unnecessary cameo in it.
Pee Wee Herman.
Yes.
Let's just say that.
So it's a little weird because I remember seeing Home Alone as a kid. Like, me and Macaulay Culkin are like the same age, right? Like, we're literally like a month apart. So I love that movie. I felt like I was living through Kevin McAllister. Now I feel like I was living a lie through Kevin McAllister, because this movie's a fucking ripoff, dog. I'm just saying. The movie we're going to be talking about today on the show is a predecessor to Home Alone with almost the exact same plot. And before we start today, guys, I got to ask you, where were they going on a trip in Home Alone?
Oh, in
Paris.
the first one? Paris.
Yes.
Yes, Paris.
Paris in
France.
what country? Admission of guilt. Right there. Roll the music, Zach.
Oh, wow. My mind is blown right now. I almost said Florida, though, because that's where they go in the second one.
That's where they go in part 2, yeah. And it just rains the whole time, like when I went to Florida.
Well, welcome to another miserable podcast, everybody. Happy Krampusnacht. It is Krampusnacht today as we are recording.
Yeah, so we're not talking about any of the Krampus movies because, hey, we have already.
I watched Krampus like 2 days ago.
Yeah, shout out to Shudder with their Unhappy Holidays selection. It's a pretty good collection. It's where the movie that we are going to be talking about, Deadly Games, a.k.a. Dial Code Santa Claus, comes from. But first of all, Zach, who are we?
Yeah, well, if you're hearing my voice, I am Zach. I edit the podcast, and joining me are my much more educated friends, Professor Casey, and correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, but I believe we have another professor on the show. Is that correct?
Oh, just barely. Student professor.
Hey,
So,
it counts.
it
I
counts.
do get to teach
It
I do get
counts.
to teach a class in the spring, which I'm very excited about.
Professor Pistol, come on down.
Oh my god.
We should just change our name to Double Professors. Yes. Two
Catch up, Zach.
two professors and a dunce. That's what we should call it.
If it wasn't already clear that I'm the least qualified person to host this podcast, it certainly is now.
I don't know. Zach makes up for it in effort.
That's my life story.
With his 4 pages of notes that he took on this movie, I think that Zach gets an A for effort, and he can be an honorary professor like Macho Man Randy Savage.
So the person talking right now is the OG professor here at another miserable podcast. That is Professor Casey.
Hello. Find me at Lucha Gringo on Twitter, and or don't. I really don't care. Because if you're gonna be just talking about Christmas shit this whole time, come on, no. It's a Halloween account.
Professor Casey is our resident Grinch.
No, I love Christmas. I just hate Christmas music. That is ruining everything for me. This movie, fucking terrible music, by the way.
You're gonna get visited by the ghost of Stevie Wonder, Bing Crosby. Zach, help me out here.
Wham.
Question.
And Wham.
Just the
Question.
band Wham. I already
ghost of-
lost
the ghost of music.
Whamageddon. I already lost it.
I like
not me.
the three that we picked to be the patron saints of Christmas music included Wham with their one Christmas song.
I have a question. Can the ghost of Stevie Wonder see me, or am I easily able to hide from him?
Oh, he can see all things in death.
Oh my god, Stevie Wonder has better vision than anyone in the world.
Shit, so it's like Don't Breathe, but with a ghost? Is that how they're gonna make Don't Breathe 2? Oh shit. Those kids are fucked.
I just realized my joke doesn't make much sense because Stevie Wonder is not dead. Like, I think I just assumed he was.
Is he?
He's very much not.
Ray Charles is dead? Maybe that's who we were thinking of? I don't know.
I think that's what I was thinking.
Nat King Cole.
There you go. Nat King Cole will
Christ.
be your ghost of Christmas yet to come.
He's busy haunting Dave Chappelle for that eggnog in your face skit. It's fine.
So Professor Casey and our newly minted professor, Chris Pistol, Professor Pistol.
Newly midget professor?
Minted.
Okay.
That's what I thought he said too.
I have not been shrunken down.
Newly minted professor.
Did he lose his
size.
shins like Cotton Hill? Oh.
I am not a child who suspiciously acts like an adult, like our lead character in this movie that we're going to talk about.
I hated this kid, and I hated his mullet. I hated his mullet.
Oh my
more
god.
Than
You are
anything.
saying so many wrong things right now, Casey. Thank you so much for joining us if you've never joined us before. Yeah, usually we do not do, like, unless it's a commentary, we don't do episodes where we're basically just talking about one movie, but that should say a lot about the movie we are talking about today, because...
Honestly, I could have done more of a commentary for this movie than I could have for Trick or Treat. I feel like there's more to talk about.
There's a lot to talk about.
Me and my girlfriend talked a lot during this movie.
I feel like I don't know any facts about the production of this, though, and it's
I picked up
wish
some
I
things
did.
from Wiki. Yeah. So let's just start off. This came out in 1989 on the festival circuit in France.
Year
was
before
born.
Home Alone.
Yeah.
And it won a lot of awards in very big festivals, which makes me think, oh, maybe Chris Columbus saw it.
And I believe it was released in cinemas there for like a week, and then it was pulled because they wanted to do something else with it, and then like whatever they wanted to do with it never happened.
It's a very violent. This is an R-rated movie.
It's violent.
Yeah.
So
Or a
this
hard
And its
PG-13.
tone is all over the place.
in the best way possible. This movie has like 5 titles. So it's probably known most, the original title is 3615 Père Noël, which if you do not know what that title means, it refers to, I did some research on this and read a few different articles, one from the AV Club, which just plugging it. But there's in France, there was a service, video text service called Minitel, which is like a very old kind of early precursor to the web, the internet.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's like a BBS service or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, like so you could access chat rooms and things like that. And so they advertise in this movie a service called 3615 Père Noël where you can talk with Santa Claus. Which is it sounds like a just a disastrous idea.
That was confusing.
Little kids video chatting with old men, but they did advertise it.
Yeah.
Like I'll admit the first time I watched it, I didn't pay attention to the ad that flashes in the beginning scene of the movie, so I didn't know exactly what was going on. But yeah, so that's a service where you can talk with Santa Claus. So that's what the title is referring to. Translated, that's roughly Dial Code Santa Claus, which is one of the alternate titles of the movie and what it's mainly known by now. It's also known as Game Over. I think that was like the original USA title, which of course, because it's terrible.
Yeah, that doesn't match the movie. It's not a video game movie.
Yeah, and then it kind of became known as Deadly Games, and more now it's really known as Deadly Games Dial Code Santa Claus. So Deadly Games : Dial Code Santa Claus out here anyway.
Which is how Vinegar Syndrome just recently released this. This came out like last month via Vinegar Syndrome,
and that's how it's listed on Shudder. Deadly Games (parentheses AKA Dial Code Santa Claus). So.
Yeah, they're using.
Although if
the
you just
Vinegar
type in
Syndrome
Deadly
version.
Games into the Shudder search, you will not find it because I had
Weird, I
to.
found it.
I feel like I did doing that. Maybe you spelled it wrong.
Hey, don't
But
question
you
the
found
professor.
it. Yeah, I'm just glad you found it.
Yeah, it's also under the Unhappy Holidays pack. So be sure to check that out. And there's a lot of other awesome movies in there that we've covered on this podcast. Actually.
Yeah, the Vinegar Syndrome release is beautiful, by the way. I very nearly purchased that. I probably will at some point.
Except that the cover looks more like Charlie Sheen than this kid.
It has a reversible cover, so you can use that. And then on IMDb, this movie is under Game Over. So if you're looking it up on IMDb, you have to look up Game Over, because if you look up Deadly Games, you get some like BBC series or something.
There are so many unused Christmas song lyrics that you could use as the title of this movie that would be
Yeah.
better than any of the titles probably that they have.
I mean, they could have called it Merry Merry Christmas because that song is used like 20 times in this movie.
Fuck.
They
that
should have
song.
called it "Have Yourself a Mullet Little Christmas."
Oh, okay, guys, let's get into it. So this is directed by Renee Manzoor.
And rejected.
Manzor.
Renee Manzoor, who went on to work on the Adventures of Young Indiana Jones series and some of the TV movies he directed.
Which it's like so of like 9,000 other people. Young Indiana Jones is like the Tales from the Crypt for Europeans. Like
That's like
everyone
his biggest
directed
credit.
episode.
So
I've never seen Young Indiana Jones.
It's usually really boring. There's one or two good
Yeah.
episodes, and the rest are just like snooze fests.
I
I
feel like
probably
I've
tried
seen,
to watch it as a kid and
Yeah.
was really bored by it.
Yeah. I wanted to say I think I saw River Phoenix, but no, that was Lost Crusade.
Yeah, that was Last Crusade.
So
They
I'm
did
not
not
sure
bring back
if I-
River Phoenix. They did not bring back the ghost of River Phoenix.
Oh man, what a talent! Seriously. Anyway, so it stars Alan Lalane as Thomas DeFront, the Kevin McAllister, who I think is fantastic in this movie. And this
Okay,
is like his
okay.
main role.
He's not Kevin McAllister, and
That's the role he's playing. That's the role he's playing, and I'm honestly surprised you dislike him as much as you do.
He's
Casey.
playing Richie Rich / Kevin McAllister.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is playing Richie Rich. He's a spoiled brat kid who tortures his dog, and then is sad when someone else kills his dog because they get to.
Oh, he dropped him in a net. Give me a break.
Okay, yeah, okay. Have you ever been dropped in a net, Zach?
It's a net that's like a foot deep.
The dog's a foot tall.
Okay, a couple of things I noted early on in this movie. One, this kid was able to build, maybe he didn't build, I guess he's super rich, so I guess he had this installed, a trapdoor in his hallway for no seeming purpose other than his own amusement.
And
So there is
the whole,
a trapdoor
he
to
lives
a
in
net in his
castle.
hallway. Yes.
Are we calling this a castle? This isn't a mansion.
It is a
this
castle.
Is a castle.
It's a
Yeah.
castle. It's
It's
yeah.
not
Let's
just
talk
a
about.
castle. It's like a fairy tale castle. Like it looks like a Disney castle.
It looks like a wing of Hogwarts or something. It's
Yes.
it's majestic. So yeah,
Yeah,
like,
there was one shot of the model that is the castle in this movie, and I just
And
said out loud, like,
only
meanwhile
two
at Hogwarts.
caretakers.
Yeah, it's a beautiful miniature. I wonder where it is today, if it's still intact.
It's in the trash sack.
I tweeted out that I feel like the architect behind the Putterman House in TerraVision designed this house too.
At least the interior designer, maybe. Yeah, it felt similar.
Okay,
He also
second observation. In the first few minutes of this movie, this kid is running around dressed like Rambo, acting like an extreme version of a little kid. We see very uncomfortable close-ups of his wet skin.
Yeah,
which
that
made
was a little
me-
weird.
Yeah,
weird.
which I was like, oh god, we're going to jail. We're going to jail for watching this. The police
It
are going to be
was-
at our doors.
It was trying to be Rambo's opening, and it just had a little extra creep factor.
We are
attached
talking
to
over
it.
the fact that he has a freaking like fighter warplane as like a bed in his like secret toy room.
Yeah,
Yes.
he has a secret toy room that his father and grandfather have passed on that is a toy graveyard that's actually bigger than his castle-sized house somehow. It looks like it's shot
ginormous.
inside a
It's
warehouse.
It's
Yeah.
established at one point that this house has like hundreds of rooms, so this is a gigantic mansion.
But every room looks like it fills a soundstage. Like, every room.
He also has multiple computers that he's a master of. How old do we think this kid is?
He's supposed to be 10.
Okay, supposed to be 10. Looks to me to be about like 8,
Right.
maybe 7. He's got very young features.
And he has the worst hair ever.
When
Joe
he's
Dirt.
wearing his glasses like he's a 40-year-old who's in business mode in the late 80s, when he's working on his computer and he's got his little round spectacles like he's a dad who's like in work mode, he looks like a 5-year-old. He looks like a
Yeah,
5-year-old
and-
who's playing with a computer.
You guys are just slandering this poor kid. Come on.
He has,
First of all,
look,
his mullet is majestic.
first of all, his barber slandered him more than any
Dude,
of us ever could.
okay. This is like the French 10-year-old Ernie Reyes Jr., all right? Be kind to him.
Blasphemy.
No, that's
Blasphemy.
exactly who he looks like. He is French
Ernie-
Ernie Reyes Jr.
Ernie Reyes Jr. was a martial arts master by the time he was this kid's age, and he didn't have to run around playing with a little computer to catch people. He would have just kicked that Santa in the fucking dick and knocked him out.
I think Casey is envious of this kid's room here. So.
Okay. So we get all that information, right? So it's set up like we're watching like a family-friendly film. And then we cut to a psychopath man who is trying to... At first you're like, oh, he's just... I even said this out loud to my girlfriend. She was like, oh, he's creepy. And I was like, no, maybe he's just wanting to play with... He's just like filled with childhood wonder and he wants to snowball fight with the kids. No, that's not what's happening.
No, he has other intentions, which fortunately are never fully seen. Yeah.
No.
But he's a fitting
Wait,
villain.
Zach,
for
are
this movie.
you saying he's trying to stuff his stocking this whole time?
I like that quasi Joker in The Dark Knight. We don't get like a backstory for this character. He just shows up
I don't
clearly
think you need to,
insane.
yeah.
No,
not
clearly
necessary.
insane. Clearly has some sort of fixation with childhood and with Santa Claus, and decides, I think I'll dress up like Santa Claus and terrorize the fuck out of some kids. Sounds like a great time.
I feel like we've seen enough movies that give us the full origin that we could just fill in the blanks. Because we've
almost
seen
like the
enough
opposite of Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Right.
So
right.
his mom is played by Bridget Fossey. She owns a giant toy company.
Fussy.
I think the husband probably was one involved with that as well, though it's never specifically stated.
How chauvinistic
It
you,
is.
Zach.
It is his family home, so he was rich somehow.
Bridget Fossey
Bridget von
was
Hammersmark.
she was in the film Forbidden Games, which I haven't seen, but it's supposed to be very very good. When she was about 6 years old, so that's like.
So she
her
likes
main
being in
credit.
movies with games in the title
Yes,
that are about games.
though this originally didn't have games in the title, but yes.
She's in a deleted scene in Funny Games.
So she runs a big toy company called Au Printemps, which is a weird name for a toy store. But so that's why he has like this huge junkyard of toys. And this house has multiple secret passages. I'm just going to refer to his toy room as the Island of Misfit Toys because that's basically what it is.
And
in his
talk to me
house.
again about her decision to, like, a la Jack Donaghy on 30 Rock, on Christmas Eve decide, okay, guys, guess what we're going to do? We're going to pull out all the stops. We're going to order some clowns. We're going to order some circus performers because for some reason on Christmas we hire circus performers and clowns.
Oh, that scene is great though, man. I love that scene. It's so like dreamlike and it's beautiful. I got to say this
That
movie
poor-
I love the way this movie is shot. It looks fantastic.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
poor
it is
fire
very-
breather.
Yeah.
Very
It
dreamlike.
it's very inventive with its cinematography for sure. But she just decides to do this on Christmas Eve, and it's like, go home to your family, woman. Like,
No, it's
you're
great,
making all
though,
these
'cause
poor
you get to
people work
see-
on Christmas Eve.
Not only had to work, the fire breather had to work shirtless in the snow.
In the soap sud snow.
Yeah, it was. I don't know,
Acrobats, a
this-
fire breather, jugglers. So the mom goes to work.
It was Batman Returns.
The mom
but
goes to work at
not.
the toy store. So at this house, it's the mom. It's their It's like the caretakers at the house. It's the dog JR, and it's Grandpa Joe, as we like to refer to him, because he's got a very like Charlie in the Chocolate Factory feel to him, and he's great.
We say the caretakers, but those caretakers do fuck all.
Caregivers.
Like,
No, they're like
Caregivers.
they're out the whole movie. They just
Yeah.
screw things up basically.
they're dispensed rather quickly.
So
I love the grandpa. I didn't feel the same love for him that you guys did. I was actively rooting for his death.
you were an asshole,
Oh, wow. Casey, come
especially-
on.
Especially with the Claymore Mine Train. I was hoping it would have been the best scene in the movie.
Casey. Casey is the Pilo in this movie. He's a fucking annoying friend.
Hey, Pilo saved the fucking day.
See,
first of all.
that's who he relates to in this movie. His friend who was like telling him Santa is not real.
I'm going to go
That
ahead
kid
and
loves
issue a
horses,
warning
man.
for anyone sensitive to dogs being stabbed to death.
That was brutal.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So
Honestly, like, I know a lot of movies we watch do kill the dog, but I still feel like if you kill the dog, you're an asshole. Even John
let's
Wick, and
just
I
give a
love John
spoilers
Wick.
warning right here, guys. If you do not want, if you want to go into this completely spoiler free, we're probably gonna talk about a lot of what happens. So spoilers.
So
I'm
now
gonna start
we're
right
at the
now.
root to Casey's hatred, which is they killed the fucking dog. The
Yeah,
unforgivable
but I
sin.
still love John Wick, so it can't just be that.
Yeah, but that's because he murders so many
Casey,
people
I thought
afterwards.
you liked this movie, Casey. You're the one that told me
No.
about how awesome it is initially.
No, I told you I heard it was awesome. I had never seen it.
Oh my god.
Oh dear God! All of
It
Zach's
is
dreams
awesome.
are just coming
It is
crashing
awesome.
down
It's
now.
all right. Casey has terrible taste. It's okay.
Yeah, I'll back this up. I looked this up on Letterboxd. I looked this movie up on Letterboxd, and pretty much, I liked this movie quite a bit. But everyone I followed fucking loved this movie. Like, I think this has a lot to do with, or partially to do with, this was a surprise screening at a Fantastic Fest in Austin, and for those that are unfamiliar, what they'll sometimes do is dredge up these like old movies that not a lot of people have seen, and restore them and give them like a special premiere at Fantastic Fest. So this was a surprise screening at that festival. So the people who saw it had no idea, had never heard of it, had no idea what they were in for. So I think that makes it all the more
Yeah, when was that
enjoyable
screening?
when you see
When
something
was that
that you-
screening?
Probably a couple years ago.
Yeah, it was before Vinegar Syndrome got it.
Yeah,
for
I feel
sure,
like
but-
2 years ago was when this kind of got people started to hear about it when Shudder picked it up
Yeah.
and Vinegar Syndrome did their release. The New Bev last year aired a double feature of Dial
awesome.
Code Santa Claus and Home Alone, which is what I did last night. I watched both of them. I already
Aw,
watched
that's nice.
Dial Code Santa Claus earlier this week, but I decided to watch them back to back because I figured we'd be talking a lot about Home Alone, which we'll do some comparisons in a bit. But getting back to the movie, we'll just set up like kind of the inciting incident. So Tomas uses that 3615 Père Noël chat room to try and talk to Santa and prove to his friend Pilo that he's real. And his friend is like, no, he's not. You're a fucking idiot.
Yeah, Pilo's right. That could have been anyone. Gee, and look, it was.
But he gets someone starts talking to him, and it turns out to be this creeper this dude we see at the beginning of the movie. And then he's like disconnected, but he finds out that Tomas's mom runs this toy store. So he goes over there, and they're hiring Santa. So he just gets a job as Santa because they need someone.
But damn it, he just can't stop the undeniable urge to slap the shit out of children.
Yeah, so initially it's like a very sweet dream sequence. He's like happy and he's giving all these kids like candy, which sounds weird. He's like flicking things at them. I think it's candy. And then all of a sudden this like little
actually
girl
some
comes
shit.
up to him and he picks her up and he's like starts to touch his face and you're like, oh, this is too much. And then the little girl's like, I don't like your face. You're scary. You're not Santa. And she pulls his beard down as you do. And he's like, oh, fuck, he shouldn't have done that. And he slaps the kid.
He slaps the kid and starts throttling her until the mom comes.
Yeah, unfortunately the mom
It
is
is
on
very
the
much
case.
like red flag. Like, dude, maybe this isn't for you. If you can't take criticism
Yeah, no, like
without slapping the shit out
immediately
of
he's
some kids.
fired, and he recognizes that this is the woman that owns the store. So in the meantime, Tomas is setting up his house. He's got this awesome like armband keyboard thing, and he uses it to set up surveillance cameras around the house. He can pretty
Yeah,
much control all
the,
the security in his house with it.
The predecessor to the Apple Watch, basically.
Basically, yeah, that's what I was thinking. This is where Apple got their idea from. Tomas.
This movie's so ripped off.
Dude, Tomas, he's like lifting weights. He's got his whole Rambo gear here. He is, let's talk about Tomas versus Kevin McAllister. Because we're going to do some comparisons to Home Alone here. So.
The thing about Kevin McAllister, at least, and I'll give the movie this, is that it makes sense. Like, Kevin McAllister is a smart ass, he's a wise ass, but there are still times where he acts like a kid, and, you know, he knows the limits. You know, he does creative ways because to order a pizza, you know, he sets up these booby traps pretty unrealistically, but still within the realm of logic. This movie just fucking is like logic schmogic. This kid is like fixing cars and then driving them.
Yeah, he's fixing. Yeah,
And his
And I gotta
grandpa
say,
was just like,
look,
cool,
man,
yeah, drive me around, grandson.
Kevin was very lethal with his traps. Like, he was playing for keeps. This kid is still using a plastic knife and a fake machine gun and little darts most of the time until he makes his little marble claymore. And then the great thing that he makes doesn't fucking work.
Yeah.
he sets up some other good traps with darts and stuff like that. Anyway,
Well, for me, the most disappointing factor was when the best thing he sets up is basically just like a fire trap where you just like spread out some gasoline on the floor and then throw a fire dart at the thing, and then it just like lights up. But it fucking does like no damage to the Santa Claus.
Yeah, I feel like, first of all, like, to really judge Kevin McAllister, we have to be watching the gore cut of Home Alone. I know you've seen it on YouTube.
does not exist.
It exists. It's on YouTube. Someone went in and put all the gore into all of the hits, and
Oh
it's
my
amazing.
It's horrifying.
And so they're on equal playing ground then, right? And then this kid's a chump in comparison, and he has stupid hair, and his grandpa is like an anchor tied around his neck. And yeah, because you know what? Kevin McAllister, when he makes friends with old people, they kill people with fucking shovels. He makes friends with murderers, not just some grandpa with diabetes that needs to hide out in a coat of armor.
Oh my God, Casey. Okay.
I'm on your side, Zach. I think that
my grandpa had diabetes and would have kicked this guy's ass 2,000 times.
I'm on your side, Zach. I thought that the relationship between the Tomas and his grandpa was very heartfelt.
My one thing with the grandpa is someone buy this poor man some glasses. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, okay.
Like, he's just walking around like, oh, well, I wish I could see, but I cannot. And
Like,
it's
how did they not buy this poor guy glasses?
You know, they came up with these inventions to help you see,
Yeah.
right, Grandpa?
They said that his vision's a little fuzzy, but then you see his point of view, and it's like, no,
can't
dog,
see
you are
shit.
blind. You are blind.
You
as
are
shit.
legally blind. Like, how you are not just, like,
This
getting
sweet
led
old
around
man,
is
buy him
amazing.
some glasses. Oh. So Thomas, he sets up his whole house. He's got it going on. He's ready to capture Santa, maybe, and at least see him in the act and prove that he's real. And I do appreciate that the movie addressed that his parents, like his mom's like boyfriend is like, I mean, this kid's like a genius computer programmer, but he still believes in Santa Claus. And her mom's like, I did when I was like 11. And he's like, oh, Jesus.
That is too old.
So Thomas gets ready to catch Santa in the act. He calls his mom while he's hiding under the table, and his mom says, do not do that, because if you do, Santa's going to turn into an ogre, and he's going to get mad.
But he's like, fuck you, Mom. I'm just going to ignore your advice.
Yeah. So, yeah, psycho Santa Claus sneaks into this delivery truck where gifts are being delivered, and he kills the delivery guy. He dresses up as Santa. The caretakers just let him in because they just think he's the delivery guy. And he kills them, as we find out later on. And then he dyes his hair with like the snow spray, which can't be good for your hair.
No, probably not.
No.
It comes out fairly quickly, though.
And then there's this great scene where you see him come down the chimney, and there's just this great moment where Tomas is just seeing him come down, and he has this childlike look on his face that it's magical, and you see his feet hit the floor. And then his dog JR comes in and is not having it, and he attacks this dude in legs, and he goes for it, and it's just like a nasty scene, and Tomas is like, oh no, don't you?
Yeah, this is the point where the movie is going to lose some people.
This is when
If
shit
you are
hits
at
the
all
fan.
sensitive, if you are at all sensitive to dogs being brutally stabbed.
Yeah, and he's like, this thing he's stabbing him with, it's not like it's super sharp, so you know it's like brutal, like force, because it's like a cake knife. He just like,
And then it's just like covered in grape jelly after that. Like,
yeah, it's
the blood in France, the fake blood in France looks
it's
a lot
terrible
like
because that's a really
grape
sweet
jelly.
dog. So the dog is killed, and Tomas immediately, Santa sees him under the table. He bolts. He gets his grandpa, and that's when you really see the ridiculous layout of this house, which has like a labyrinth art gallery in it, and
secret passages that I want in my house.
that go through like a wardrobe and out like a refrigerator door. It's
There's like a maze at one point. He's like in an art gallery maze.
A maze with
was
his
expecting-
face painted on the floor.
I was expecting David Bowie to like jump out with his bulge and just start dancing.
So should we talk about the Wet Bandits versus Santa Claus here?
Okay, no, because Home Alone wins in every category. That's the problem. It's not a competition. Home Alone is a great movie, and this was all right. Kevin never cries like a little bitch. I'm just saying.
Of course, you hate the human moment, Casey, which is what I was gonna praise.
You call it a human moment. I call it a moment of weakness, Zach.
Which will not be loud in the Professor Casey household.
I really want to see how Casey would have
crying,
handled
child.
this. I want to see
Stop
how
being a
Casey would
bitch.
have. I want to see how Casey would have handled an invasion as a kid, because that's the one thing watching Home Alone again. There are some human moments with Kevin, but really, like when this kid is like running away and he runs out onto the roof, and he's like in the cold snow and he's just crying for his mom. I really like those moments because that's how a kid would react. He'd be terrified. I don't care how tough
me,
he is.
It's a
I have
bit
a lot
jarring.
of I have a lot of
Like, it
weapons
is.
in my house. I have
Yeah.
so many weapons in my house that it just.
This movie,
would've
it
been
like
an
feels
opportunity
like
to use them.
feels like Home Alone with the ambience of like Black Christmas, which is probably why Casey doesn't like it because he hates Black Christmas.
It feels like it's shot like a full moon movie, though.
Oh, it's. I think it's shot really well. I mean,
Full moon movies are usually shot well cinematography wise, but yeah, it looks like
the
a
lighting
full moon
is very like harsh and very
colorful.
Like,
this movie feels like the inside of a snow globe, in a good way. That's kind of what it feels like.
It is very blue. Like when he goes outside at all times, it's very, very blue.
So he escapes.
We all just brain farted for a second.
So he escapes with Grandpa through the secret. So he tries to. He escapes with Grandpa through the secret passageway. He can't get the car to start. He's trying to get this car to start. Santa comes and just like breaks down the car with his hands and like smashes his head against the window.
That was cool. That was a cool sequence.
Terry Funk style.
He's actually on PCP this whole time.
And they escape through the back of the car. And that's when Thomas starts getting into Kevin McAllister action. He uses the hatch against him. He falls into the net. And then he activates the security system on his wrist. And that's when he escapes through the roof. He gets to his computer and he sends an SOS fax to his friend in his mom's work. And his mom is already freaking out because they haven't been able to get a hold of him. So so she decides to leave to try and see what's going on. She ends up
God
crashing her car.
God forbid her boyfriend fucking checks his fax machine every once in a while.
It's 1989. You should be checking that fax machine every 15 minutes.
Right.
Meanwhile, we see more of this house. They have a game room. They have a music room. There's like a pinball machine, an arcade machine. There's a suit of armor which comes into play.
Not in a cool way like you might be expecting.
It made me laugh. I thought that was hilarious.
So I think Tomas's best movies here is he locks Santa in the sauna in their gym.
Yes. Which you start to feel like, oh, that's game over. But no.
He stares him down cold-blooded. He's like, don't mess with me, bitch. And
I think that's a little bit one of my little criticisms is that Santa does not take enough damage. Like
not
too many times Tomas does something and it's like, oh, you got him, but then it'll just get to the next scene and the Santa's just back and
which we are totally fine with in Home Alone, proving once again Home Alone superior movie. Just
those kids take the wet bandits though take a lot more damage and you feel their pain throughout that movie.
It sucks because like looking at him near the end sequence where he comes in the house looking like a zombie, you're like, he got wrecked, and then you're like, oh, this is all just mud. Just mud.
No, dude, he has like burn marks on it, kind of like Harry in Home Alone 2 specifically.
You just need to like change.
You just need to feel that damage more. Like you need moments where you're like, ooh, like.
Here's the thing. I think that's like
his punishment.
They're not going for slapstick here, unlike Home Alone, which is very much going for slapstick. And the other thing is Home Alone.
Slapstick.
Home Alone, they've established Harry and Joe Pesci as as these
Marv.
kind of Harry and Marv as these kind of lovable oafs, and so they're like they're scary, but like. It's a comedy. It's a family comedy. Here, this guy is demented, and he probably wants to diddle this kid, and so like it's
you set up that this kid is going to like have these traps to get this fucking asshole, and you want the satisfaction of seeing this kid like take
especially
on
after
this fucking asshole.
he knifed the dog. So, yeah. I do. It's kind of like they certainly went for more realism with this, but I understand at the same time why it's.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where's the justice for JR, Zach?
Like Die Hard is not a slapstick comedy, but when John McClane takes those fuckers out, you're like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, this is at the same time that it is a 10-year-old kid, so he's as much as he likes to play that he's Rambo, he's not Rambo, so
he I feel like this movie would make a little bit more better comparison with Die Hard, just in the sense of
it's a bit Die Hard.
One man in a giant mansion one child in a giant mansion trying to take down someone.
Well, he is barefoot the whole time, just like John.
Oh yeah, they should have played on that with because this is like a year after Die Hard, so it's in between Die Hard.
Yeah, make him walk through some Christmas ornaments or something.
I would like to see suck. Imagine Kevin McAllister with this house and see what he would do with it. That would be interesting.
Yeah, but just to like twist the knife, just to twist the knife deeper, there's like an extended like really sad sequence of the kid burying his dog, like in slow motion, and then a flashback to him playing with the dog. Like it's like, oh, remember the good times, and it's just like this movie has a tone problem.
That was French filmmaking 101 right there, in my opinion.
Yeah, and there were some sequences where it was like so much slow motion that it just reminded me of the Garth Marenghi bit where they're like the show was running too short, so every scene that did not have dialogue was considered for slow motion.
I mean, it resonated with me, but it is sort of tonally like all over the place. But it didn't bother me. But like that's because I'm used to watching horror movies like that. So
yeah.
All right, so he locks him in the sauna. Grandpa hides in the suit of armor. Santa gets out of the suit, stabs Tomas
fairly
in the leg.
easily.
Yeah.
He gets out fairly easily.
That's kind of how he gets out of a lot of things. He just like bangs on things and he just gets out of handcuffs and like doors that are supposed to be locked shut. And
like,
but I don't think
Well,
Tomas is securing things as well as it could be.
They were toy handcuffs.
Yeah, those are toy handcuffs.
Yeah.
So this is when Tomas's friend Pillow shows up because he gets the facts and he just shows up on his bike with no plan whatsoever. And Santa sees him and he immediately bolts on his bike and Santa can't get to him, and that's all that Pillow does. He doesn't do jack shit, Casey.
Yeah. Pillow just saved the day, first of all.
He saved his own ass.
You know what's interesting about Pillow is his whole room is covered in horse posters. I just found that so interesting.
Yes. The one shot I was just like, okay, hold on. Why does this kid have 2 posters of horses in his room?
So Pillow, the first brony in existence, saved the day.
I like it.
So he shows up and then Tomas sees him after he's like unlocked the house and he's like, get the frick out of here. And so he just immediately turns around and we see Psycho Santa, dude. This dude is, I should say, Santa Claus is played by Patrick Fleury. He is terrifying. His credits are kind of interesting. I did notice he's done some like video game voiceovers for like Kingdom Hearts 2 and Far Cry 2, like the French versions. And he's been in some other things from director René Manzor. He has a long list of credits, but he's great in this film.
He's better known as my friend Byron. I sent him a picture of him, and I'm like, dude, this is you. And he's like, fuck you, that doesn't even look like me. So good times.
They're definitely the kid, the best friend coming to rescue him that does nothing. Kind of felt like a moment where the writers are kind of like, how can we make this a little bit longer? I
do think watching this movie, you can see why John Hughes did not include a dog in Home Alone, because that creates a whole mess of issues, like how they dispatch the dog. I don't think it would have worked.
I don't think Home Alone would quite be the holiday hit if it had a dog.
Tarantula, you can escape pretty easily.
They're scary.
But he got out anyway. But yeah, a dog, it would have just made things a lot more difficult. So I can see why he didn't include a dog. So,
and then it gets a little bit confusing as at one point the Santa like actually gets him, but then rather than kill him, he's like, "Hey, let's play hide and seek."
Yeah, because he thinks it's a game this whole time.
Yeah. So in the meantime, and before that, Thomas, he creates like a splint. So he's kind of got like
a completely unnecessary splint,
a crutch.
Yeah,
it's like that thing is just slowing you down, bro.
I feel like he wanted to be they wanted a Tiny Tim reference in the movie.
That's when he buries JR, which is a really I thought it was emotional. It's tough, man. I was glad they just didn't because a lot of the times when a dog is killed, it'll just be killed and then you just know it's sitting there the whole movie and nothing's happening with that poor dog. So I'm glad he was able to bury the dog and have that moment.
Well, it was such an extended period of him like going through the house and burying the dog. All the while the Santa, I guess, is just in another part of the castle looking for him. So it's like, I think you could just hide from this guy, like just find an obscure like cupboard and hide in there. And I don't think he'll be able to find you. This place is
he's
so
not the
fucking
smartest.
massive.
He's not the smartest dude.
Yeah.
So that's when we get kind of this Home Alone like montage sequence is when he's starting to set up these traps. And then he slingshots this dude with a tracking device. And you can see he's not messing around.
Like Spider-Man. It's a spider tracer from Spider-Man, basically. Yeah.
He makes a tripwire that shoots darts, and you get this shot where they just like converge on this dude's like temples. It's a pretty.
I thought it was in his neck, like Frankenstein.
One of the two. It might have been his neck. Yeah. And then it gets more serious. So he makes a bomb and he puts it on this train. This is a really creepy kind of suspenseful sequence.
Yeah, he basically makes a Claymore mine. This scene
Yeah.
ruled, but the payoff was shit.
So he sends it towards the Santa who like sees it, and he's waiting for it to go off, but it doesn't go off. And then Santa sends it back towards Tomas, but it passes Tomas and it goes towards the suit of armor, which his grandpa is hiding in.
Yeah, so the whole time you're like, oh shit, it's gonna blow up Tomas, and then you're like, oh shit, it's gonna blow up the grandpa. This is gonna be great. And then neither of those things happen, and it never even goes off.
This was another sequence where I was thinking like every scene that did not have dialogue was considered for slow motion.
Yeah. Just to balance out Casey's disappointment here, he was also disappointed when Michael Myers did not kill the baby in the 2017 remake. So just to...
Gotta stop the crying somehow.
Just... Listeners, this is the man you're dealing with here.
Do you want a Michael that plays for keeps, or do you want one that uses kid gloves?
I say that with love.
Casey was actually taking notes during this, like all the things that the Killer Santa was doing right. He was like, okay, so
there unfortunately there weren't many things.
Dispatch guards early.
Casey's like, okay, what do I not do when I'm going to attempt this?
So no one is around to stop you diddling the kids.
Those people just went down like a bitch. They put up no fight. They had him outnumbered. They had... Okay, like, I expect what happened to the delivery guy that he killed to happen, okay? Like, that he got
If there's
caught by
ever
surprise.
a night when your guard is down, I guess it's Christmas Eve.
Casey, just think of the family that's huddled around an open fire with their 5-year-old listening to this episode of Another Miserable Podcast where we're talking about Santa Claus diddling kids. They're just trying to be warmed by our voices
Best
here.
Christmas ever.
You know, it still beats the sound of Christmas music. Because Zach, can we talk about the Christmas music in this movie? Are we there yet? Sure,
we can talk about it. I look personally. I like that track with this movie. It's very haunting the way it's used. It's just overused. They use it way too much. But I do like. It's not like I like the song, but I like that track for this movie. I think it fits the tone.
So I wish the subtitles. I wish the subtitles on Shudder were saying what the song was saying, because I couldn't quite make it out, a lot of it, but it sounded like nonsense.
It's in English.
It was a very French person speaking nonsensical English.
No, the song is "Merry Merry Christmas." I think it was Bonnie Tyler singing it. It was, and then I think the other person that I don't know if she sang on it or if she produced it was, I think, related to the kid in this movie because she had the same last name. I Shazammed it. So yeah,
people can't have the same last name unless they're related.
Zach has already bought the soundtrack.
No, I have not. I Shazammed it.
He's got the vinyl.
Casey, who's playing his Switch as we're recording this episode.
That's how I roll.
So yeah, it's used a lot. I do think it's an effective kind of haunting track when used at this movie. It just, they could have thrown in a few other things in there, but I think it fits the look of this movie very well. So the bomb doesn't work. It almost blows up Grandpa, but they escape. A police officer eventually shows up, so Thomas gets away from Santa again. Santa kills the police officer, because of course.
But not in like really a cool way.
It's kind of off screen. And then you find out that Grandpa needs insulin because he's not doing well in the suit of armor,
if there weren't enough problems with Grandpa, he's old, he's frail, he's blind. He's stuck in a suit of armor, and now he's gonna die from his own diabetes.
Yeah, good thing those caretakers bury their insulin in their sock drawer.
I already know how Casey wished this movie ended, and we'll get to that. Anyway, so Santa catches Thomas, but lets him go because he thinks they're playing this game of hide and seek. And he wants to prolong it before he diddles him, apparently. So Thomas goes to the caretaker's residence to looking for insulin. They've both been murdered. He's freaking out, and I really do think Alain Lalanne here is really great, considering he had no experience really and was in one thing before this. He carries this movie fairly well for 10-year-old kid. I bought into what he was conveying.
I'm sure it was an exhausting experience.
Yeah, this kid is clearly terrified. As much as Macaulay Culkin is brilliant, in Home Alone, but they're going for a different tone here. But this really feels like someone's invading his house, and regardless of whether you think the kid's spoiled, he's still a 10-year-old kid, and he's, he just wanted to see Santa Claus, and this is not how he envisioned things. So, so he finds the insulin, and then he gets into the police car and tries to, tail it back to his house, but Santa shows up in the back of the car. The car crashes.
I thought that was a brilliant move, though. I did like that.
And that's when Thomas finds the gun outside the car. Santa doesn't think he's going to shoot him. He shoots him somewhere in the torso, I think. And then he gets back. He gets Grandpa out of the armor by pushing the armor over onto the floor.
Yeah, I was laughing at this point. It was so ridiculous. And it took him so long to flip him over, too. It was just
He was just like,
good
I don't know what to do,
man.
so sorry, Grandpa. He pushes him over.
It's like, well, how did you get him in the suit of armor? How did this happen?
It would have been hilarious if Grandpa was just like, asshole!
Ow! God, I'm in such pain.
It would have been even better if they said that was the fall that killed Grandpa.
Oh, no.
Of course, Casey. Of course. Of course.
Oh,
So he gives Grandpa the poor medicine, and he's just pounding on his chest to get him to
live, damn you, live.
And then Santa comes back in and opens his arm like he's Jesus Christ. And
I've never seen the Rambo sequels. Is there a moment where he's like pounding on someone's chest, like "Live, damn you, live"?
Maybe when his girlfriend dies in the second one. Maybe, maybe. I don't know. That it seemed very French to me. Also,
Viva, viva!
I want to point out that Zach said Jesus. Like, how do we know we didn't see the origin to this guy? How do we know he's not Jesus? And he's just pissed that his holiday was stolen.
he does look a bit like Jesus. Like, this guy is like...
How do we know he's not the real Santa Claus who just went off his meds?
Yeah. I mean, this actor is the rare person that can play both Jesus and Santa Claus. He's got a very distinct look. So...
He looks like Charles Manson. Let's not mince words. He looks like Charles Manson.
Well, Charles Manson Jesus or Charles Manson Santa Claus. Either way, you can pull off all three. What a trifecta there. So he comes back in, and he's going after Tomas, and Grandpa grabs the gun, and he can't see shit. It's blurry as hell. And
Duck, Tomas.
Yeah, get down, Tomas!
Once again, this is the end of Die Hard.
Yeah.
It is.
And the gun fires, the mom gets back, and I know Casey wanted this movie to end with Grandpa killing the kid.
No,
I definitely thought that was gonna happen. I was that's not off the table. This movie could go there.
This is my ending for the movie, okay? So Santa's dead, Grandpa was a good shot. The family all hugs around the fire, and then the train explodes.
Oh my god.
I think I'd be okay with that.
Merry Christmas. So the mom comes back. Instead, we end on this very haunting shot, which again, this is kind of why it reminds me of Black Christmas.
Yeah.
And it's just like the kid is just shell-shocked, which she would be.
Yeah.
And
because he thinks this kid is scarred for life.
Throughout this whole thing, he still thinks it's Santa Claus. He has not changed in that belief. He thinks it's Santa Claus, and he thinks his grandpa just murdered Santa Claus. And it's like, it's my fault, Mom. I just wanted to see Santa.
He has the... this is called the Tommy Jarvis moment, is what it's called.
Basically,
basically.
Clearly has one, yeah. So in the sequel... he's in a mental institution played by a completely different actor, and he might be a copycat Santa, but really it's a guy named Roy.
Yeah, so I thought this movie, the ending was fantastic. I love this film. Let's talk a little bit more about...
No.
So, I mean, what would you guys have changed? I mean, how would you have handled certain things differently compared to Home Alone? Like, I mean... It's, there isn't like an old friendly miserly neighbor. That's the grandpa is in the house instead of like, coming to save the day.
It's tough because I think that you change things to make this movie better, and it makes it less watchable possibly. Because what makes this movie so watchable, at least in the first like half hour, are just all the questions that you come up with. Like, why that decision? Why? Like, whoa, okay, what, okay. All right, then.
It just makes me want to see more French holiday movies because there's some like just shots where they're just like outside the store, that street performer scene. I just think it's like really, I love looking at that scene.
Bizarre.
It's bizarre, but it's just it's so
I'll send
like
you some
holiday.
More bizarre French movies, Zach. Don't you worry.
And this toy store, which just looks like hell on earth, like the worst Black Friday, but this movie
There's
is...
a lot to this
I'm
movie.
really glad I saw this movie. I
would
think it's
change the shit
fantastic.
out of it. I would make one change, Zach. I would make Shitbag Kid. I would change him to the kid from Terror Vision. And I would change the song to the song from Terror Vision, which is now stuck in everyone's head.
So I would make this movie Terror Vision is Casey's answer.
No, I'd keep Santa. We don't need 2 movies with that blob thing. It's fine.
I mean, he's like living in the Winchester Mystery House, you know? So like it's...
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad I saw this movie. I think it's pretty. It's gonna make an entertaining watch for something that's. It felt like something that I wanted to discover, that I like, and that these are the kind of movies that I like discovering, not knowing anything about them.
I do think if this got a wide release, this would be like something that's watched like every December by lots of people.
It would at least get to the level of popularity of like rare exports or something.
You would see this like airing after Die Hard or something like that. Like this is I gave it 4 stars. I really liked it, but it's gonna be something that's conflicting for people because it is so out there and it's so like if people like grew up, you know, on Home Alone. And
See, I'm normally down for that though. I would only go about 3 stars on that, but
I'm surprised the kid annoyed you as much as he did, just because like
it's
really
the hair, dude. It's the Joe Dirt haircut. it really.
It's a sick mullet, man. You usually like mullets.
It's hilarious though, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Like you make this kid look more normal or whatever, and it's not as a fun movie. Like it doesn't his insane hair just adds to the movie, I think. Yeah. As does his like unrealistic Richie Rich castle that he lives in.
Also starring Macaulay Culkin. Admission of guilt right there. The reason we keep talking about this is the filmmaker did attempt to sue the filmmakers of Home Alone. Nothing came of it.
No. Surprise, surprise. Home Alone, the biggest movie of 1990.
Yeah, the movie that outperformed everything except for... It might have even outperformed Batman Returns. Or no, that was 91, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was 91.
I mean... look, this movie even has an elevator shoot that certainly is prominent in Home Alone. So, like, in Home Alone 2 as well, I think, isn't it? Yeah, so, like, I mean, I don't know if John Hughes saw this movie beforehand because, like, it had such a limited release. Like, he would have had to look for it.
Okay, so, Home Alone was number 3 in 1990.
Yeah.
Only beaten by Ghost and Pretty Woman, but it beat the Ninja Turtles movie, which is pretty crazy. It beat The Hunt for Red October, Total Recall, Die Hard 2, Driving Miss Daisy, Dick Tracy, and Back to the Future Part 3, Suck It, Zach.
Wait, Dick Tracy made money?
Zach's a big Back to the Future fan. We would be a Back to the Future podcast if we could talk about more than 3 movies.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of in between you guys a little bit as far as like I enjoyed this movie, I enjoyed discovering it. I think it's pretty bonkers and definitely worth a watch. There's definitely some stuff I would change to make it just like go even harder, make it more entertaining, like as far as like upping the violence or upping the extremity or the extremity
Chris would kill 3 dogs in the movie instead of just 1.
I would just have like Santa Claus be like a bloody mess by the end of it, like take so much fucking damage that he's just like, ah, God.
Dude, yes, it should be like Creepshow 2 with the hitchhiker.
Just like 100%. Coming after Tomas with an axe. And then have Tomas pull the trigger by the end, or at least if Grandpa pulls the trigger at the end, Grandpa says something like "Silent Night" and then pulls the trigger and then kills the fucker.
Deck the halls, bitch.
Deck your halls, bitch.
So, first of all, you make it a shotgun and you get a head explosion at least on par with the one in the Prowler. And then we're good. Then
you want to
we have
just blow up that
masterpiece.
lovely, lovely castle.
I wouldn't blow up the castle. I would let it withstand the train bombing and just have people guts all over the walls. Like they would be decking the halls.
Or maybe we have the ending that we have, but then it pans over. The actual Santa Claus is there. He's just shown up. He's just come down the chimney. He's got the presents in his hand. He observes the scene before him and then just goes, "What the fuck?" And then cut to credits.
Tomas we just end the film with Tomas playing with fake Santa's decapitated head in his toy room.
So this is Christmas.
Yes, high tension style, and oh my god, yeah, this was good though. Like I sound like I don't like it. I did like it.
do.
I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I didn't purchase the movie.
Oh, I would definitely
But-
purchase this movie. For sure.
Dude, buy the Vinegar Syndrome one
I will.
for sure, dude.
I will. I'm waiting until I have like a nice new set of shelves before I just. You guys have much bigger Blu-ray. Jesus Christ, Blu-ray.
Mine are in
Blu-ray.
boxes though, dude.
You have much bigger
Don't let
Blu-ray
the shit-
libraries than I do, just because I don't have the shelves for space for it. Right
Honestly, dude, all of
20
mine
bucks,
are in
IKEA.
boxes. I don't have the shelf
now.
space.
I don't have space to
it
put in a
boxes.
shelf.
Yeah, I just put it in a box, Zach. If you could put a shoe box, even it will fit.
When I do, I will be going to
That's
town
not
and we'll talk about
satisfying.
it on the podcast. Yeah.
It isn't satisfying. My collection's very unsatisfying in that way. But you know, I'm waiting for my Vinegar Syndrome Black Friday order. If you guys want to talk about some crazy Black Friday purchases, did you guys
Sure.
to end the show?
Sure. One thing, Chris, what was your rating? Mine was 4 stars. Casey was 3 stars.
Oh yes,
I guess since I'm in between you guys, I'll do 3.5. I was going in between
Yes.
3 and 3.5, but yeah, 3.5. I think.
depending on how much you like Christmas movies and Christmas music, you might like
Yeah.
this movie more.
Imperfect
because
but
Zach,
enjoyable. Very enjoyable.
Zach loves both of those things. He's basically a living Wham record, and you know,
Lost Whamageddon.
Nothing wrong with that.
What's our final verdict on whether John Hughes saw this movie before writing Home Alone?
I'm gonna. Say
I
yes.
think he may have. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
That's
gonna say
that's
yes.
where you're hedging your bets. Okay.
He saw that and said, "I know how to make
Or heard
make
about
this
it?
movie, but then make money."
It's just because there are elements like the elevator shoot, which is very specific, and things like that. I mean, the French thing might just be a coincidence. I'm not sure.
Honestly, like, so many people say some of these things are coincidence when it's no way. Like the whole Friday the 13th and the Mario Bava movies. No, someone fucking saw those movies and ripped them off. They're almost shot for shot recreations.
And then
the
admitted
scenes.
it. Like they fully admit it.
And the guy playing Santa does look a bit like Daniel Stern.
They actually refuse. They actually refuse to acknowledge that Mario. It's in the documentary. Cunningham's like, yeah, I never saw any of those Bava movies. I don't know what people are talking about. And it's like, okay, let's get a side by side up, motherfucker. That's what they needed to do.
Yeah.
Like
We still love
that
you, John
Hong Kong
Hughes.
movie. You know, we do.
Yeah,
I and Home Alone is a masterpiece. I don't.
And we
care who
forgive
it
you
rips
for
off.
Home Alone 3. And Baby Stay Out.
I never saw.
I don't
it.
hate Home Alone 3. It's the ones after that that are terrible, especially 4. Holy crap. 5 is kind of entertaining because Malcolm McDowell's and their use of video games in that movie is interesting. But 4 is like the doggest of dog shits. All right. Anyway, 3 is at
Can we
least
call?
watchable.
Can we call the episode that? Can that be the title? The doggest of dog shits.
what I love is like is referencing Home Alone 4 and then somebody saying out loud, they made a Home Alone 4 and then retorting that with, they made a Home Alone 5.
Or my favorite Twitter trend this month, which is Catherine O'Hara is in Home Alone and Beetlejuice. Go away, Twitter. Just stop.
Oh God, what the fuck?
Oh
Are
god.
those people being real? Or are they
Yeah, like is this a joke?
Yeah, I
tweens who are watching Schitt's Creek and then discovering things?
honestly I unfollow people like that. Very liberally. I'm quick on the unfollow button. I'm also quick on the mute and the block.
I mean, I'm glad people are discovering the brilliance
He
of
even muted
Catherine
me.
the brilliance of Catherine O'Hara because she's fantastic. So
But in a just world, she should be as loved as John Candy. She should be like the female
Absolutely.
equivalent of
She
John
pretty much
Candy.
is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think she's quite.
and they were
as
really good
loved as
friends.
John Candy.
So
Yeah.
all right, so we were talking about Black Friday hauls, right?
Yeah, I did the Vinegar Syndrome sale. That's the most horror related one. I grabbed a few of their movies. The most interesting one is Silent Rage, a 3D slasher movie from the 80s that actually comes with 3D glasses.
The Chuck
so
Norris
let's
film?
do this. No, that's Silent Rage also, isn't it?
I think so.
Oh
that's,
shit.
that's also called Silent
Then-
Rage.
okay, wait. I'm not. Then the Vinegar Syndrome one isn't Silent Rage. What sucks is Vinegar
Sound of
Syndrome
furious typing.
takes.
Yep.
Silent madness, not rage, madness. I was close. It's a synonym. Okay.
It's all right, Casey. I'll buy you the Silent Rage Blu-ray for Christmas, so you have both.
I've already seen it. One of the better Chuck Norris movies. Even though Chuck Norris is a piece of shit as a human being, some of his movies are great. Silent Madness by Vinegar Syndrome. I also picked up Cemetery of Terror, the next movie by the director that did the Grave Robbers film that I talked about on this podcast. And I picked up a couple other slasher movies that were available in this Black Friday sale. I picked up a couple things, so I'm still waiting. Vinegar Syndrome got completely slammed with orders. People went crazy on Black Friday. Good for them. I didn't buy anything from Severin. Their Black Friday deals didn't really interest me. They had a pretty cool cassette version of Color Out of Space, which was Richard Stanley reading the story as an
I did see
audiobook
that, yeah.
on cassette. That's interesting, but I feel like if you're going to go for dead media, go for vinyl, not a cassette. I mean, that's taking things a little too hipstery in my... At least get the superior sound quality. I mean, come on.
I have a few cassettes that I just keep in my little, just to have something to put on.
Did you pick anything up on Black Friday, Chris? Chris is the real Black Friday hero here. He works at Apple.
Yeah. Oof.
Well, not this year, fellas, because on both
Nice.
accounts, because one, Apple is only open for pickups only, so
Oh, okay.
we
Well,
had-
that's good.
it was quiet and regular and very lovely.
Oh, good.
Nice.
And also, no, I actually did not pick up anything on Black Friday because I bought things for my girlfriend this year, so that's where my money is going. But in retaliation, I'm sure she got some stuff for me.
I did all of my Christmas shopping for my girlfriend via Black Friday, and I got some cool stuff that I won't mention just in case she ever decides to listen to this podcast, which I don't think she ever will, but still.
Yeah, mine's in the other room, so I'm not going to say what I got either.
Gotcha. I also hit the best possible Fright Rag sale where they emailed me on like Cyber Monday and they're like, "Hey, we're having a sale just for extra large shirts." And I'm like, "Holy shit, I'm an extra large. Let's go." And I got a lot of great stuff. I got a shirt that me and Zach can be twinsies, which is a little weird. I didn't realize Zach owned that shirt. The drugstore from Halloween. The Halloween 4 drugstore shirt. You own that one, right, Zach?
Yeah, that's one of my favorite T-shirts.
That's not
Yeah, so we might be twinsies on that one. Yeah.
I hope we
need
don't
to
show up
coordinate.
somewhere together wearing that shirt.
I'm gonna make it a point to wear that every time we hang out, so that it'll eventually
Imagine like
happen.
like Scarolay or Monster Palooza both wearing that shirt.
Are you guys supposed to be twins?
Anyway, my Black Friday, I also bought gifts for both of your girlfriends, guys. No, I'm just joking.
Oh, the more the merrier.
As the bachelor
you.
of this
I was
group,
gonna say.
I had no girlfriend to buy a gift for, but I think I just did buy gifts for family and friends. So, including you gentlemen.
Yeah, I got you something pretty cool that I could show on the podcast right now. I'm not going to. It's fucking Zach.
I don't know, like I always want to do more on Black Friday, but it's like I just end up like I really wanted to get a new mic. There were no sales, but I'm getting one for Christmas,
Damn
so
it.
it's all good. So you'll be able to
Nice.
enjoy that
I-
soon, listeners.
I got
Yes,
this mic
pretty
for
soon
Christmas
Zach's-
or a birthday, so as you can see in the shot right now.
Zach's audio quality will be even more better than us, than it already is.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I'm happy because I was told before this episode that there was going to be intermittent power outages today, and then I might lose
Yeah.
power. So we're recording this butt-ass early to avoid it, and the power still hasn't gone out
Yeah, I forgot
yet,
to mention
so,
that. This is
alright.
like the Russian roulette
the moment
episode
when
of
Casey
another
goes out,
podcast.
right now.
Yeah.
Yep. Man. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting day because it's also cold as shit and I won't be able to run my heater if the power goes out. Good times.
Well, let me plug our social media here before we end things. You can find us on Twitter and YouTube under Another Miserable Podcast. Please subscribe to us on YouTube if you have not yet. Follow us on Twitter. Like our videos on YouTube. And if you enjoy what we do, please give us a nice review on Apple Podcasts. That would really, really help us out.
If you don't enjoy what we do, fuck you.
Oh, if you don't enjoy what we do, that's fine. Just don't leave us a review.
Just don't tell us about it.
Yeah. Just go our separate ways and we'll be fine.
Yeah.
Also find me at Lucha Gringo if you want to hear me talk about wrestling for some reason. Listen to Masks, Mats, and Mayhem that drops every Tuesday on YouTube and any podcast service you have. You can listen to me there. I do some good impressions.
Yeah, get yourself a nice ball shaver courtesy of Casey.
Yeah, code MMM on manscaped.com. Get yourself 20% plus free shipping. Trim the tree this holiday season.
The gift of a Christmas shave.
Guys, I heard a plug for Manscaped on the David Tennant podcast, and to hear Doctor Who talk about shaving his balls was the best Christmas gift of all.
I do think Manscaped was on point with their new advertisement where it's just like a family opening Manscaped gifts, and it's a grandma just like reading like ball deodorant and laughing. We are not sponsored by Manscaped, sadly. Chris, where can they find you on Twitter?
Oh, you can find me at the twitter.com/Chris Pistol, Chris with a K, Pistol with an E.
Yes.
Letterboxd as well.
Yeah, Letterboxd for me is Lucha Gringo. Also, Zach on Letterboxd is something.
Yeah, I do write reviews there. You can see my review of Dial Code Santa Claus on Letterboxd.
Yeah, but what's your fucking name on Letterboxd?
It is
Zach?
the same as my Twitter name, which is Earth2Zach. So Earth, the number 2, Zach, Z-A-K. You can also find me on Instagram under that name. Again, please follow us on Twitter under Another Miserable Podcast. All right, guys. So we have another episode for you to close out this year. We're going to do some more holiday fun, probably just kind of a mix of different holiday horror movies and specials and whatnot. And then after that, we will have our best horror movies of 2020, fellas. And I have a lot to catch up on.
Dude, I already, you know what? If we're picking 3 choices each, I already have mine. I am good.
For the next episode?
No, for 2020.
We do. It's a top 5, man, each.
Fuck that. I quit.
Dude, there's so much that came out this year. If you can't make a top 5, you haven't been watching enough horror movies, Casey.
I have not been watching enough horror movies.
No,
guys, we run a horror podcast. What are you doing?
I am in school and go to work.
No excuses. You watch more movies than anybody I know, Chris.
That's true.
My job is very taxing. Let's put it that way. And also, if we were a Fortnite podcast, we would get more views. I'm just saying.
God. I can give you guys a list of all the horror releases. Freaky just came out, which I need to see, but it's like $20 to rent, so it'll happen.
Hey, you know what? My girlfriend saw it and said it was awesome. And she doesn't even like horror movies most of the time.
Yeah, I definitely need to see Freaky. There's a bunch of new things on Shudder, like anything for Jackson looks really good. I have a huge, long list. I still need to see The Platform.
Don't forget New Mutants, guys.
I gotta say that, oh god, garbage. I gotta say that Scream Queen is in the running to be my number 1 or number 2 of the year. Let's just put it that way.
Have you guys seen Possessor yet?
I don't know if I've seen Possessor. Does that came out this year?
I don't like possession movies. They kind of bug me.
That's the David Cronenberg's young boy made that film.
Oh.
Yeah, I got a lot of talk. It's on VOD right now.
I'll have to check that out. Yeah, we might need a separate category for documentaries because there's a lot of good documentaries.
No, the top 5 includes documentaries. We did it last year, so we have to do it this year. There's no changing the categories.
That's because Casey hasn't seen enough non-documentaries.
No, it's because Wolfman's Got Nards is another top 5 quality film.
This is gonna be there's a lot of good independent horror releases despite everything that was canceled out this year. Sorry guys, we're going on a tangent. We'll get into this in our best horror movies of 2020 episode because there's a lot to talk about with that.
That was just a preview of how much we're going to be arguing on the actual
But
episode.
in the meantime, have a happy Krampusnacht, have a happy Hanukkah because I don't think the next episode will come out while Hanukkah's still going and probably like right afterwards. So happy Hanukkah to our Jewish listeners.
Yes, and I'm sorry that I haven't seen any Jewish horror movies for Christmas. I can't think of one.
You can watch 8 Crazy Nights, that qualifies.
Oh, or you could watch Santa's Sleigh because Bill Goldberg plays the killer Santa in that, and he's Jewish.
That's true. I have a soft spot for 8 Crazy Nights. Don't hate me. I know it's like really immature. I just like the animation and the musical numbers.
I saw 8 Crazy Nights in the theater, dude. It was great.
That's a technical foul. All right.
You could just watch Holiday Inn because Irving Berlin was also Jewish.
I need to watch that as well. Yeah. There's too much. There's not enough time. All right, guys. Please stay safe this holiday season. Wear your masks. Stay inside. Best you can help it. Do as most of your shopping online as you can. Go out for the essentials. If you need to
Stay
go to
inside
get
and watch movies.
if you need to go get gift wrap, just be safe. Keep your distance 6 feet apart. We will see you next time, guys. Enjoy this December as best as you can. Make the most of it. We will be getting out of this nightmare soon. I believe wholeheartedly. So, until next time.
Peace out.
Time is a construct, and it being 2021 makes nothing better automatically. Have a nice day, people.
Happy holidays.